Alex, hey, thank you so much for being part of history today. Pleasure. New Zealand Rec, the first time we've been here, so an amazing talk out there today.
Thank you very much.
Well done on everything that you have achieved, but I've got some really good questions for you because, I mean, goodness, you've been through a lot in the last wee while. Yeah. So my first question for you is, I know we're quite vendor heavy in our industry, but why do you think real estate agents are so scared of buyers?
I think the difficulty is it's the agents, like they have that fiduciary responsibility to the vendor. Mm-hmm. That is their priority. That is where their business comes from. That's who they're paid by. Now, obviously, you're not going to do a deal without a buyer, but I think it's really hard to balance both. It's like what I said up there. You know, you wouldn't have a lawyer just representing one side and not the other. And I actually feel for agents because they are trying to do the best thing by their vendors, but they've also got this duty of care to the buyers. And I think that buyers in turn sometimes feel that they're not cared for and not looked after, but they just need to understand the agent generally is trying to do the best thing that they can, but buyers get confused as well. And each agent is different, each property is different. And I think people have found it very confusing in the last year in particular. You know, if they go into a property and the agent goes, oh, well, here's the CV. They go, but we've read in the media that CVs are, 30% above what we should be buying. So then there's an intrinsic lack of trust in what the real estate agent is saying, which I don't think is always fair.
Yeah.
I actually think agents, genuinely are often trying to help a buyer into the property, but they do have that responsibility to the vendor.
Yeah.
And I think buyers are just missing, they don't feel as though that agent is on their side.
Yeah, and because it's a lot of money, right? You think, we have such a passion for it in New Zealand and, everybody is so committed to property and you think such a big sum of money and one of the biggest decisions you make in your life. So, I think it's awesome that we are looking at ways in which we can support Kiwis on both sides of the transaction.
Yeah, I think people should be allowed to have the choice, shouldn't they? They should be allowed to say, actually, I would like to have someone represent my interests and be bound to that, loyalty. Because I think also there are a lot of agents who will help buyers to say, I'll go out and help.
Of course.
But they don't ultimately have that responsibility to the buyer. And that can be quite a tumultuous trip for a lot of people as well. They say, the agent started helping me, but then lost interest. I'm like, well, that might also be because you stuffed them around. You told them different things. Yeah. You changed your budget. You changed where they're looking. They're not engaged to do that. And that's why I really talk about really qualifying that brief at the start of a search is so important to say, this is what we're focusing on and this is when we want to purchase it by. And that's what we're going to commit to.
Nice.
So, flip side of a sales agent. It's lovely to be able to do that, to just say we're just going to focus on the buyer.
Yeah, good. That's awesome. And then my question is, we're starting effectively sort of almost a subset of an industry within our industry in the last wee while. Tell me, there's a lot of no's involved with getting you out to where you are today. Yeah. So how on a really practical level, because real estate agents or all types of people in our industry get told no a lot of the time. How do you on a practical level pick yourself back up after those no's and carry on?
Yeah. You have to know exactly what your value is. You have to know and truly believe that what you are delivering for people is going to make their lives better in the short to long term, and that you are going to take the stress and fear away from them. You are going to make it easier for them. They're not going to have to worry, have I overpaid? Have I bought the wrong property? Have I been fleeced? So knowing, if you really believe that and you speak to buyers, they believe in it as well. But in the industry, you do get a lot of no's, and it's just trying to explain to people why this is actually beneficial for them. Because I thought about it. I thought, is there a downside of what I'm doing for anyone? And you speak to enough people, and once they twig, once they understand what you're doing, they go, no, this is great. This is literally bringing business to our business and getting a deal done faster and just making it a much more efficient system, less time wasting, because property sales and finding a property takes up a lot of time and a lot of wasted time. And I think a lot of people, when they've been through that process, they look back and think, I spent a lot people looking and not achieving what I wanted to. Yeah. So most people would prefer it was over sooner.
Absolutely. I mean, when people are purchasing a house, I'm sure there's many people out there who go, it's almost like having a second job.
Yeah,
for that 4, 3, 6 month period, depending on the market or what you can find. It's exactly that. It's like almost having a second job. And so anyone who can help be efficient in that, speed up. We're all busy people in our lives, and love what you're doing and think it'd be really interesting to see our industry evolve, to see Kiwis better involved in property and getting, ultimately if more Kiwis are in homes, it's better for our economy and better for our country.
That's what I think.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being part of today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You did a great job out there today and we're very grateful for your time.
Thank you very much.